Hello guys, so my attention was brought to a video that was done by one Eniola lady talking about submission not being in her dictionary and how she didn't have to kneel at a traditional wedding, and she considered that a feminist act and she was proud of herself. It was a big deal for her. First of all, I'm going to just say this in a very few minutes. First things first, this in your love, a lady, you have no understanding the difference between submission and subjugation, or even feminism in the list. Let me just break it down for you. Submission is the act of willingly yielding to someone else's authority. That is the simplest way to put submission. Subjugation, on the other hand, is the act of putting somebody under your control, dominating somebody else, meaning that the person is not agreeing to the things that you're saying out of their own volition. They are being made to. They are two different things. And I see a lot of that in marriages where men think that submission means subjugation. I needed to give that definition of terms for clarity of purposes, for someone out there who may not really understand what is this submission thing about. So it is clear that this young lady has no understanding of what submission or subjugation is. Secondly, feminism is an advocacy for the rights of women. What that means is that feminists are fighting for equal opportunity because we believe that men and women are equal in terms of humanity. We are all human beings and we should be given the opportunity to explore the same things that men can. So I don't even know why they call it gender equality in the first place, because it's supposed to be, in my own understanding, gender equity. That's another angle. So you don't even know what feminism is about in the least bit, because kneeling down at your traditional wedding, how does that even in any way explain or mean submission? Talk more of an act of feminism. You have no understanding, and it's unfortunate because you feel very intelligent. You feel like you really know your onions. But I'm sorry to tell you that that video and that thinking is very shallow. You need to upgrade. Thirdly, if you are going to do marriage, it is required that you submit. Now, a lot of people want to do marriage, but they don't want to play by the rules. If you want to have a good marriage, good being the operational word, it is important that you understand that submission is a prerequisite for you to have a good marriage. The same way, loving your wife, it didn't stop there. Loving your wife as Christ loved the church. It means that this definition of love is very precise. It's not subject to your own interpretation. Neither is it relative. It says, love your wife as Christ loved the church. Christ gave his life for the church. Christ protected the church. Christ defended the church. That is the kind of love you should have for your wife. So if you as a single person, you want to get married to somebody, be sure that the person that you're about to give the keys to your freedom as a woman is somebody that you trust their sense of judgment. You trust that any decision that they make, that they consider you first while they are making that decision, because that decision is going to affect you in turn. If it's not someone you can trust to be able to do the job long term and be able to love you as Christ loved the church, if you don't know how Christ loved the church, go and get a Bible and understand it, because that is where some of these quotations come from. So even if you're not a Christian, you should understand the background of some of these arguments. Submission and loving and all of that, they came from the Bible. So understand how Christ loved the church, so that you too, you'll be demanding your rights as it is supposed to. This is, husband and wife is an office. Be mindful of who you allow to occupy that office. There's been a lot of emphasis on women submitting to their husbands, and little has been taught to men about how Christ loved the church. That is how you're supposed to love your wife. Men do not only bring food to the table, because women are also bringing food. Now, a man is designed to bring food, provision, protection, direction, and discipline. But a lot of emphasis has been placed on breadwinner, and the other three things are suffering. And so men think and go about with that sense of entitlement. There is a balance to it. Love makes it easy to submit, just like submission also makes it easy to love. The responsibilities were clearly stated. Anyone that wants to occupy that office should understand what the responsibilities of that office, and is ready and have the capacity to do the job long term. Don't go about, oh, I love him, I feel lovey-dovey, and then you end up getting married only to come and complain you cannot do things the way he does. He's a fool. If he's a fool, he's a reflection of your decision. That means your decisions are foolish. So you need to take responsibility, and that goes both ways, both for the man and for the woman. If you're calling your spouse names, your spouse, except that person was forced on you, even when the person is forced on you, you're not 18. They are a reflection of your decision. You need to first of all look inwards before you begin to point accusing fingers on your spouse. I'm very passionate about this because I'm a relationship coach, I'm a relationship counselor, and I'm tired of seeing people make a mockery of this thing called family. There can't be any nation building if families are breaking down in their numbers. There cannot be a healthy nation when you have unhealthy families. The picture of the nation is a reflection of what is going on in homes. So you have broken people trying to raise broken children who end up becoming broken adults, and then you want to have a nation. How is that going to be possible? We are having ISIS, Boko Haram. Those people are products of homes. The earlier we begin to understand the importance of this thing called marriage, the more we do it the right way, so that we at large will be better off for it. If you see a man who hits his wife and the likes, look inward, find out his history. You find out that he is also coming from an abusive background. We are all a reflection of our experiences, especially our childhood experiences. That is why I don't take information like this for granted, and I'm thankful to the person who brought my attention to that particular video, so that I can also lend my voice to demystify some of these falsehood that social media has given people the opportunity to spread at their whims and caprices, as the Oyibo man would say it. Excuse my French, but I really, really, really get upset when I see things like this. People who have no clue about marriage, they like the idea of being married, but they don't want to do the things. In marriage, my dear brothers and sisters, you are not equal with the man, because the man is supposed to set the pace and you follow. If you don't like that, don't be thinking about getting married. Marriage is not for everyone. Marriage does not make you happy. Marriage does not complete you. But if you want to do it, then do it the right way. Marriage complements you. If you are an unwhole person, if you're someone who doesn't love him or herself, don't be thinking about marriage. Genuine love starts first with you. You have to first love you before you demand for somebody else to love you. In fact, when you love yourself well enough, you will be able to know. It's easy for you to decipher someone who loves you from the person who doesn't, because you know yourself, you know how to take care of yourself, you love yourself. So when you're getting anything less than what you're able to give to yourself, you won't settle. So I see a lot of people who don't even love themselves enough, and they are demanding for genuine love from somebody else. How dare you demand of something from somebody, something that you haven't been able to give to yourself? The Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. It didn't say love your neighbor more than you love yourself. You have to first love yourself and then love your neighbor in turn. So if you don't love yourself, please, you need coaching. You need a relationship coach. You need a counselor. And this is not just about me selling my market, even though that's part of it, but that's not what I'm trying to drive at. My point here is very simple. People who don't know anything about marriage should not go about giving counsel or giving lecture about marriage. This issue about marriage is very serious. We as a nation are suffering for it. People are doing things the way they want. Marriage is a God idea. If you want to do marriage the right way and have a happy marriage, you have to do it the God way. Don't just do marriage because everyone is getting married. It's not one of those things, that ornaments that you put on because you feel like it. It is serious business. And people like me who take this thing very seriously, when we see information like this, we don't pass up on it. Finally, Nigerian men are not temperamental. I actually feel that's an insult. So you have had an experience with 100 men. More than 90 million Nigerian men are now being categorized or boxed into your 100 men experience. I feel that's an insult, and that goes to say how shallow your thinking process. It reflects your thinking process. If you're able to, the generality of Nigerian men into your short-term or short number of experience to say that Nigerian men are temperamental. I feel sorry for the man that you're married to. I really do feel sorry for him, because if he has any self-esteem at all, by the time you're done with him, with that vicious tongue of yours, there will be nothing left of that man. I'm not even sure the man is aware of what he bargained for. It's also possible that you give the people outside the impression that you're in control when you're not really in control, because I've seen those kinds of situations. People come out and they make you feel like they're in control. They can't take any nonsense from a man, but when you go back to their home, you see one ugly thing giving them order up and down that they cannot even challenge. So don't come and sell that market. We are not buying. If you want to be married, do marriage the right way. And a young lady, a young man that is out there, marriage is serious business. Anyone, and a husband is an office, just like a wife is an office. Whoever you choose to occupy those offices, be sure that they can do that job long term. Yeah, that's my advice for you today. My name is Vanessa, and you can follow me on social media if you like. You can hate if you like. Until I come your way next week Friday. Have a beautiful Saturday.